So Disney released Moana 2 just before Thanksgiving, and as of this recording it's only been out for week and a half, but so far it looks like an enormous hit at the box office, and if it continues performing well in theaters, then that's going to give Disney 3 hits this year at the box office. So I'm on boxofficemojo.com here, I'm just taking a look at their numbers so far. So the movie came out November 25th or maybe November 27th in some places, I don't know. But as of this recording, the movie's been out for 8 days. And as of 8 days, Moana 2 has made $389 million worldwide in theaters. And that's a pretty good week, folks. That's a real good week. Now I'm just going to make a comparison to last year. Last year at this time, Disney released Wish right before Thanksgiving. How much money did that movie make? In its entire theatrical run, it made $255 million, just short of $255 million. So it made just over $250 million, and that was it in its entire theatrical run. I mean, this movie was a flop. And as I remember, I think this movie had a production budget of something like $200 million. And then of course you have your marketing, and then you got theaters taking a percentage of the cut. So this movie, it lost Disney a ton of money. 1 year later, Disney releases Moana 2, and in just 1 week, less than a week, it makes more money here than what Wish did in its entire theatrical run. Now I've tried to look up what was the production budget for this film. The only place where I found an answer was here on some article on LA Times, where they said the production budget was $150 million, which overall that might be a pretty big production budget, but for a Disney movie that's small. Most Disney movies have production budgets of $250 million, initial production budgets, and then if you count reshoots and stuff like that, then those numbers get even higher. Wish, as I remember, had like a $200 million budget. Disney released The Marvels last year, which that movie made just over $200 million in its total theatrical run, and its production budget was like $275 million. But Moana 2 here, $150 million. And if you look at that production budget and you look up how much money this movie's made, I mean, you could say it's already broken even. One rule that some people follow when it comes to whether movies are making profits or not is a 2.5 times rule, where a movie's gotta make 2.5 times whatever its production budget is in order to turn a profit. Some people use some different formulas, but if you use a 2.5 times rule, $150 million times 2.5, that would be $375 million it needs to break even, and it's got $389 million after just a week. So this movie, after 1 week, I'd say it's already a success. And I'll tell you this too, compared to last year, basically every movie that Disney released last year flopped. Indiana Jones, The Little Mermaid, Wish, The Marvels, I think Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania came out last year and that was a flop. However, this year Disney, they had what, Inside Out 2, 1.6, almost $1.7 billion worldwide in theaters. That's a huge success. Deadpool and Wolverine, $1.3 billion worldwide. That's another big success. And then you got Moana 2 here, and so far this is looking like a hit too. Now, why is Disney doing better this year than last year? Well, Disney over the last couple of years, they've gotten a bit of a reputation for entering political battles, for going woke as people call it, for injecting certain messages, certain agendas into their movies. They've kind of gotten away from being a family-friendly company. Now, this article here, found from Bounding into Comics, it came out a couple months ago. Former Pixar employee says Inside Out 2 team was specifically ordered by Disney leadership to make protagonist Riley Anderson come across as less gay. And the article talked about how Pixar was in a bit of financial trouble and they were desperate for a hit. And then apparently they gave orders to the people at Pixar to make the protagonist come off as less gay. Or in other words, to keep that kind of stuff out of their movie, just make a fun family-friendly movie and that's it. And then Inside Out 2 comes out and it's an enormous hit. They just made a fun, family-friendly movie from what people say. And they end up making a lot of money. Not too long after that, Deadpool Wolverine comes out. That's another fun, entertaining movie, and that's a big hit at the box office. They weren't pushing any messages or agendas or anything like that in there. They were just entertaining their audience. That was it. And when they do that, they make money. Imagine that. Now Moana 2, I'm kind of still looking at reviews for it. So far from what I'm hearing, people are saying kind of the same thing, that it's just a fun movie, that people like it. Now me, I haven't seen it. I'm kind of at a point where I don't really give Disney my money at the moment. So to be quite honest, I have no idea how good this movie is exactly. But I look over here and it looks like the audience likes it better than the critics do, at least on Rotten Tomatoes here. I mean, the critics don't exactly hate the movie, but they don't appear to like it as much as the audience. And me, I try to look up whether or not Disney shoved any messages into this movie or anything like that. I haven't really found anything. I really haven't read anything where people are saying that this movie went woke as we like to put it. But again, folks, I have not seen this movie. If you've seen this movie, you'd have to let me know how it is. But so far, just 1 week and a half in, it's looking like another success for Disney this year. And after the disaster that Disney had in 2023 with basically every movie they put out flopping, Disney wound up having a much better year this year. And boy, folks, they really needed it. I mean, Inside Out 2, Deadpool and Wolverine, and so far it's looking like Moana 2 is going to be a big success for them too. Now, does this mean that Disney's going to just go back to making fun movies again, fun entertainment again? Does it mean that they're going to stop shoving messages down their audience's throats? I wouldn't say that, at least not yet. I mean, keep in mind, folks, Disney released The Acolyte this year, which was a big failure. I mean, that was a TV show, not a movie, but regardless, that show was a failure. And also, they've got Snow White coming out in March of next year. And oh boy, folks, I think that movie's going to be a big flop. I think everyone thinks it's going to be a big flop. And that movie, from what we know, they are going to be modernizing it. They are going to be making changes to the original Snow White. So, yeah, Disney still has some bad content coming out in the future. But I'll tell you this, with Inside Out 2, with Deadpool and Wolverine, and perhaps now Moana, Disney does have some pretty clear evidence that if you just entertain the audience and you keep agendas and messages out of your entertainment, you'll succeed. Now, whether or not Disney will put 2 and 2 together in the future, well, that'll remain to be seen. Bye, everyone.